Hello, folks, and welcome to episode 12 of the Counting Sheep podcast. My name is Ruth, and I'm going to be your host. And this is my podcast, and I'm coming to you from Vermont. We live on a small farm, my husband and I, with sheep and chickens, and we cohabitate with my dog Cooper and my cat Dora. I hope you find something of interest in my podcast. It's usually pretty heavy on crochet, some knitting and spinning, and some other things that I get up to in and around the fiber world. Today I have some crochet, definitely some finished objects. I have some progress in knitting, and not so much spinning this go around because I've been concentrating on getting stuff done. So that's that. And also I spent a week last week, 4 days actually, at Harrisville Designs in Harrisville, New Hampshire, which is south and east of me. And I spent 4 days there learning how to design with twisted stitches, which is a kind of Bavarian technique, German, Austrian nature. Twisted stitches are basically stitches that twist around each other, obviously, but they do it every single row, as opposed to cabling, which usually happens on the opposite rows. So anyway, a little technical there, but we'll get to that. I don't have anything to show yet from that class. I want to get a little further with my project before I actually show it, because with that type of knitting, what happens is you end up not really seeing the texture until you get a little further up. All right, but I've already gotten ahead of myself, so let's backtrack, and I'm going to talk about Harrisville at the end of the episode, and I also have some footage and some pictures that I took while I was there. All right, so let's start off with crochet. Let's get organized here. And I want to show you yet another crochet pumpkin that I made. I saw this, and I actually had some yarn that I was going to donate to another cause or another person that might need it. And I pulled it out because it was orange, and I had this this particular pattern, and I'll give you the pattern name first. It's called the Harvest Pumpkin, and it is by Half Calf Crochet. So it's HALFCAFFCROCHET. I'll put it on the screen. But anyway, here it is. This is my pumpkin. Kind of cute. The stem in this case is crocheted as well. And literally took next to no time, half an afternoon, to put this little guy together. It is, it does call for a super bulky yarn. And the yarn I used is actually worsted weight, but I held it together, 2 strands together. And this is Mary Maxim Starlette. You might recognize this, or might be familiar with it. I get the Mary Maxim catalogs, but I must have bought this a long time ago, and I never used it. It was a full skein, untouched. So I thought the orange was really good for a pumpkin. And then also in my stash of things that were going to go elsewhere, the stem is made from Plymouth Encore Colorspun. And this color number is 7022. And so that's what I used for. You can see like it's got a variegation of colors in there. But on the pumpkin, I think you can only see kind of yellow and maybe a little bit of, yeah, pretty much just yellow. The sunlight and the daylight is fading from my window here, so it's hard to see. But anyway, yeah, so this is the Harvest Pumpkin. And this is a really fun, fast make. And so yeah, I'm keeping this one. And who knows, I might make another one in the near future. But I thought I'd share that with you. I did use a 9mm hook, which is also an M size hook in the States. And like I said, the Mary Maxim Starlette and the Encore Colorspun yarn. So that's one finished object. Yay. And then my second finished object, I showed these in the last podcast, are the Blue Thunder socks. This is a pattern by Drops. And I'll just show you the picture here. Those are the socks. As you can see, nice little lacy pattern there. And these are mine. Now, I have not woven in my ends yet because these are hot off the hook. But you get the idea. So these are both socks, and they haven't been blocked yet either. I'm going to put them in a quick soak later and just to block them out a little bit, block out the toes and the heels. The toes and the heels are, you know, made up of single crochet, straight single crochet, so they're pretty dense, and they probably need to be loosened up a little bit with blocking. But yeah, this was fun and fast, this particular pattern. And I used a mystery yarn. Once again, I have been clearing out my stash a little bit, cleaning things up, and this was a yarn that I discovered that did not have a ball band associated with it. I knew it was a fingering weight yarn, but like I said, I had wound it up and I don't know where the ball band went in the process. So, but it's a nice groovy purple here. A nice kind of variegation, you know, a tonal. So it's nice for socks. And these feel really good. They fit well. And like I said, they just need some blocking. I used a 2mm hook on these socks, so that might be why they're so dense in the heel and the toe. But I think something in the heel and the toe, you need the most fabric that's solid, because that's what gets most of the wear and tear on your socks. All right, so that's my Blue Thunder. That's yeah, finished object number 2. One thing I wasn't going to show today. I am participating in the Moorit Cal, Moorit magazine. If you're not familiar with Moorit, it's a crochet magazine published in Edinburgh, Scotland, by Alison Chu, who's an American living in Scotland. And it just had its, I want to say, let's see, number 5. Yeah, I had to double check. Number 5 issue is out. And Allison has invited us all to crochet along any pattern from any Moorit magazine, any issue of Moorit magazine. And I am doing the Fealty Hap, which is from issue 5. I didn't bring it up here to show because I haven't gotten very far with it. I haven't progressed since the last time because I've been doing other things, getting distracted by pumpkins and and trying to get socks done. So I haven't progressed all that much with that, but I'll be picking that up soon again. I am doing it in a cashmere yarn that I got in Italy. And so I just wanted to mention that because that was really, that's something that I want to show you later in a later broadcast. Oh, the other thing I wanted to share, just backtracking a little bit, this is the amount of yarn I have left over from my socks. And it's about 11 grams, which I think is going to be enough to put a square in my Cozy Memories blanket, which I did show a couple of episodes ago. The blanket is by Hannah Siegfried, and she is the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. And it's a it's a corner to corner square. Each square in the blanket is a different color. And so I'm planning on putting this color into that blanket. I feel like I'm all over the place today. It must be the season. Today's Halloween, so that goes along with that, I suppose. All right. So I wanted to share an upcoming project of mine. I managed to dig out a warmer skein of yarn. Warmer by warmer I mean something that's heavier than fingering weight. And I wanted to share that I wanted to make a warmer set of mitts, because I guess I said in the last podcast that the mitts that I had made, which were the Felix, or I was trying to make the Felix mitts out of one of the pom-pom magazines, and I just wasn't satisfied with it. The yarn was just not doing it for me, and I realized that it was because they're so lightweight, and in Vermont you need things to keep your hands warm, and I knew that wasn't going to fly. So this yarn is from Lavender Sheep. This is called Dark Roast, and it is pretty much a superwash bulky weight yarn, and it's a tonal, so very autumnal, almost Thanksgiving colors. And the actual mitts that I want to make, I'm not sure if the pattern is available. I was part of a club called Fix Stitches, which is no longer in existence. And it was run by Laurinda Reddig, and these mitts are actually designed by her, and they're called the Jilly's mitts, and they do use kind of that corner to corner stitch in them, except it's more of a shell patterning. So anyway, I wanted to just share with you briefly, because I've been trying to find this pattern on Ravelry. It's not on Ravelry. And I'm going to try to contact Laurinda to see if she has the pattern available for purchase or otherwise. What the Fix Stitches Club is you got a book, which was written every 4 months, or every season, spring, summer. And the book was written by a friend of hers, and Laurinda put a pattern to go with the book at the end of the book. But like I said, it's not available anymore. Her patterns are on Ravelry. Most of these patterns that are associated with Fix Stitches are published on Ravelry, so you can go have a look. That's Laurinda Reddig, and I'll try to put that on the screen as well. She is a prolific crochet designer and a very astute crochet designer. I've enjoyed a lot of her patterns, and I'm looking forward to doing mitts in this. So stay tuned. I'm just kind of putting that out there, that I'm going to be doing some mitts out of this yarn. And I didn't tell you the colorway. It's called Dark Roast. So yeah, so looking forward to that. And I think that's all I have for crochet. Oh, I just want to share one thing. There we go, one more thing. This came across my radar, and I just had to get it. It's another wonderful pattern by LillaBjorn Crochet. And as you know, I made a design by her a couple of episodes back. And this is called the Lola cardigan. And that's what that looks like. It's a round yoke cardigan, as you can see, with color work in the yoke, and then some textured stitching the rest of the way. And then she also brings back the color in the cuffs here. And I just happen to have enough fingering weight white yarn, Shetland yarn, from one of my dearly departed Shetland sheep. Her name was Maple. And I've been kind of hoarding it and not knowing what to do with it. So when this came along, I thought, oh, this is perfect. She was running a special up until I think yesterday. Unfortunately, I think the price has gone up now. But this was only $5 to buy, so this was really a bargain. So looking forward to that. I'll let you know what my color choices will be. And I'll show you the yarn next time. Like I said, this is something I plan on starting probably after those mitts. So lots of ideas. You know, fall brings so many ideas to the forefront. So on to knitting. I'm happy to say another finished object. As you know, I have been working on, if you've been with me, I've been working on Mary Jane Mucklestone's flower mittens. She has hers done in 2 colors. I have mine done in brown and in a multi-colored yarn. So, and here they are. Now I think I mentioned before that these mitts are just a little bit tight up in the fingers. And these have not been blocked yet either. Been bad on the blocking this week. But they do fit my hands. I think what I will do is try to block the top out a little bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed making these. Now, what I did deviate from the pattern. The thumbs are supposed to be done in the colored yarn, but I did mine in brown, mostly because my mittens get a real workout, and I think brown hides dirt better than this colored stuff will. So, but I'm falling more and more in love with these. I have to say I was discouraged when I found out that the tip was a little bit tight. But like I said, I'm going to try to block these out and see where I get with it. So yeah, the yarns I used were, the brown is from Shepherd's Wool, and it is called brown. That's the colorway. It's a worsted spun fine wool, and the color was from Abstract Fiber and Yarn, and you can see I have a boatload of this left over. So guess what? You might see a pumpkin in the future made out of this, because it's too great of a color to just donate or, sit in the stash for a while. And, as long as I'm on the pumpkin train, might as well use it up. But the colorway for this one is just, it's called Warm, and it is a worsted weight as well. So these are thick enough to, for at least our fall in Vermont. We'll see about winter. I think winter requires a bulky weight yarn up here in Vermont. But anyway, so those are the Sunflower Mitts by Mary Jane Mucklestone. And once again, the only criticism I have is the tip of the hand. You might want to just check it before you bind it off like I did. So, all right. So that's another finished object. I have 3 finished objects this week, which is surprising to me, as well as a lot of progress done on my pressed flowers cardie. So that's next. I'm going to just reach down here to show you my pressed flowers cardie. So, when last we spoke, I was well below the armholes. Well, not well below. I was just about at the armholes. I was about to split for the fronts and the back. And lo and behold, check this out. I not only got both fronts done, but I got the back done as well. So there is the back. Just slide back a little bit. There we go. And I started on one of the sleeves. So right there is my needle for my sleeve. And I gotta say, I'll tell you, this construction is nice. Just enough stitches, picked up around the armhole, and easy to start that pattern again on the armhole. So yeah, I am just in love with this. I did try it on before I got hot and heavy into, you know, doing the sleeves, and it does fit well. It does get a front button band, and it has a V-neck. If you can't tell too much from the front since nothing has been blocked, but yeah, it's a V-neck and just lovely. Once again, I am using some of my farm yarn, and this is from Fergus. This is a kind of a sport weight done spun by a mill for me. And then the other the color is a variegated yarn, and this is from Feederbrook Farm. There's that, and the colorway color is called Force, and it's their Entropy DK Multi. So yeah, when I was at Mother of Pearl Yarn Shop in Freeport, Maine, I was able to pick some of this up. Yeah, so fun knit. Enjoying that immensely. And as you can see, I got a lot done. We had guests, overnight guests. My husband's family came in for the weekend before I left for Harrisville, and I was able to just, as we were sitting talking, just work on it because it's kind of an easy pattern to follow. And be able to converse while you're doing it. So anyway, Pressed Flowers is coming along, and I'm so happy because it's been like I put that on hold. It was kind of on the back burner for a while, and yeah, it's going to be a lovely cardigan to finally wear. And hopefully I'll have more of it. Maybe the sleeves done by the time I podcast again. Alrighty. Let me see if there's anything else I need here to show you before I soldier on. I don't think so. I think that's all I needed to show you. I have an acquisition. This, I had pre-ordered a book from Amazon, and this happens to be from Claire Garland. And if you recall, I made a little crocheted frog a couple episodes ago, and it's just called Crochet Frog by Claire Garland on Ravelry. But she came out with a book of all patterns for Peter Rabbit. And actually there's 12 in this book. So I'm just going to show it to you. I mean, how can you resist, you know? So there he is, Peter Rabbit. And then on the back are the other characters, some of the other characters. She is very talented and is really has the technique down for designing these little animals. Let's see if I can find a picture of one of them. This is Samuel Whiskers. Just sweet, you know. I think I would actually knit his coat. This looks like it's a fabric coat made out of fabric. And then there's a little badger in here. I have to admit, I have not read any of Beatrix Potter's or Peter Rabbit. I should, since I'm in awe of these little guys. It's very sweet. And let's see, who else? There's a fox, Mr. Todd, and that's him. Him, Mr. Todd. It's a him. And let's see what else. You can tell I'm just a little kid in a candy store here. I would love to make all of these little guys. This is the Tailor of Gloucester. I should get the Peter Rabbit book out of the library and just read it so I know who I'm making here. And this is Jemima Puddle Duck. She's so cute. Oh, I could go on and on, right? I could go on and on. So anyway, you get the point. All really cute, wonderful construction animals. And so I will try to be making, I will try to make one of these little guys soon. There's the kitty and probably Peter Rabbit first, right? He's the star of the show. So yeah, so stay tuned. And once again, that's Knitting Peter Rabbit, 12 Toy Knitting Patterns from the Tales of Beatrix Potter by Claire Garland. Yeah, check her patterns out on Ravelry because they are quite good. All right, so I mentioned that I went on a 4-day class, or went to a 4-day class at Harrisville Designs. If you're not familiar with Harrisville Designs, they are a spinning mill in southwest New Hampshire and in Harrisville. The actual mills and buildings used to be used for weaving back in the day. But that whole industry kind of dried up in the late 60s, early 70s. And so Chick Colony, who was the son of the gentleman who owned the weaving mill, actually invested some money, bought the mill, and turned it into a spinning mill because a lot more people were, at that time, they were using their hands more for other crafts, you know, and they also wanted to bring weaving looms into the common person, or, you know, the person out on the street. So as a result, Harrisville Designs has grown, and they have a spinning mill, like I said, and they also make floor looms for anybody. They come, you know, they come disassembled, but easy to put together by anyone, really. So it's a beautiful little village that Harrisville is in, Harrisville Designs, and they also make other little things, but mostly it's their yarn that's the big showcase item, and their looms, of course. So I'm going to, like I said, show you later what I did in the class. The class was with Donna Kay. She is a local designer, lives in New Hampshire, and she teaches all over New England and other places like John C. Campbell School down south. But this class was on Bavarian knitting, twisted stitches. It's also known as Austrian knitting. And so I will show you next time my project from that class. In the meantime, though, I was able to, they had just recently moved their whole spinning mill, Harrisville, moved their whole spinning mill from a location that was a couple miles down the road from their retail shop to right next to their retail shop. So we were able to actually go in there and have a little tour of the mill, which was really cool. I've seen spinning mills before, but it's always nice to go in again and just get a look at the whole process. So, like I said, I have footage and pictures, which I'll put at the end. But the other thing I picked up there, aside from yarn for my project, this is another thing that Harrisville makes, and it's they have potholder looms. And this one is their bigger one. This is a 10-inch metal loom, and you may or may not recognize this. Maybe you've done this in childhood or whatever. These are elastic loops, and this kit comes with the loom and enough of these loops, as well as the hooking tools to weave a potholder. I was gifted one of these potholder pot holders made from one of these looms several years ago, and I just love that pot holder. I mean, it was one of the smaller ones, but we use it almost every day. And when I saw this, I said, I'm going to make some bigger ones, you know, so that you can actually, you know, set them on the counter and put pots on and whatnot. So that's what I picked up. When you take a class at Harrisville, they give you 10% off all your purchases in store while you're there. So that's kind of an incentive to get whatever you want. I try to exert some control over that, you know, because, you know, how many things can you do? But anyway, I thought I'd show that to you, share it with you. And so today is Halloween in the States as well as other places I know. And I am off to do a little volunteer work. They're having a trunk or treat event in town. And as part of Lions International, we are participating in that. And so it's just 2 hours, and we have the back of a trunk of a car filled with candy for the kids. So kind of I think a safer way to do trick-or-treating. And so we'll be at that tonight, and it's supposed to get quite cold into the 20s tonight, so I'm going to layer up and make sure I have my wool socks on. So that's it for me this go round. And if you like what you see or hear on my podcast, please give me a like, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. And also leave me a comment. Would love to hear about what you're doing and making in the fibery world. All right. So until next time, stay safe, keep healthy, and I'll see you soon. Take care.